If you think of our global honeypot network as a kind of digital weather report, well, January 2026 was a stormy one. Let's dig into the data and see what was really going on. Okay, first up, this massive number, over 218 million. That's how many attack events our honeypots picked up in just 1 month. Now, a number that big, it's almost hard to wrap your head around without some context, right? So the real question is, what does that actually mean? How does it stack up against the month before? Was this just another month, or was something different happening? And right away, you can see the difference. In December, we were sitting at around 165 million events. January? Bam, up to 218 million. That's a 32% jump in a single month. That's a really big deal. But here's what's really interesting. It wasn't just the usual suspects making more noise. The number of unique attacking hosts, the actual individual sources, also spiked. We went from about 163,000 to nearly 250,000. So a lot more players suddenly decided to get in on the action. So that leads us to the big mystery, right? Where did this huge surge come from? Was it just a case of everything getting a little bit noisier across the board? Well, this table pretty much tells the whole story. If you look at the top 5 targets for both months, you'll see most of them, they're pretty stable. VNC, SIP, SSH, the numbers are all in the same ballpark. But one of these things is not like the others. And that one is MSSQL. For anyone who doesn't know, that's Microsoft's SQL Server. It's basically the digital filing cabinet for thousands and thousands of businesses. It's where they store their most important data, which, as you can imagine, makes it a super valuable target. And this is where the story really unfolds. In December, we saw about 53 million attacks aimed at MSSQL. Fast forward to January, and that number exploded to 113 million. It literally more than doubled. That is an incredible amount of focus on just one single service. So here's the bottom line. That entire 32% increase we saw from December to January, you can trace pretty much all of it back to this massive surge in MSSQL probes. This wasn't a rising tide, this was a targeted tidal wave. But what's also kind of fascinating is that while all this was going on, attackers were actually pulling back from other places. Take RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. Attacks against it were nearly cut in half. So this tells us it was a really deliberate shift in strategy. All right, so to sum up January, total attacks shot up by 32%. But that whole increase? It was driven almost exclusively by a huge, targeted campaign against MSQL. And at the same time, we saw attention drop off other big targets, like RDP. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. When you see attackers concentrate their firepower so intensely on one specific target like this, you have to wonder, what exactly are they hoping to find? And where are they going to point all that firepower next?